All right, real quick breakdown of the game today. Georgia Tech beats Florida State by a field goal in an amazing game by Georgia Tech. And I say that, at first I was thinking time of possession, and I looked at it. Florida State is winning the time of possession battle by a minute, or they won the time of possession battle by a minute. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing on this is the fluidity. I think the chemistry that you saw from Georgia Tech and as far as how their drives were put together. The thing for Florida State that we saw was really that Jordan Travis was an amazing quarterback. We saw a Heisman performance from that dude the last 2 years because DJ with similar players ain't it. That whole offense ain't it. And at first when I first started doing these a while back, I was a certain way, and then lately I kind of got into trying to be nice and doing all this. Hey, don't make sure I'm kind when I do that, and it's like that's out the window. Because people are not going to like me either way. People are going to hate me whether I'm nice and try to beat around the bush or tiptoe, or if I say whatever I want to say. So guess what I'm going to do? Guess what I am going to do. I'm going to say what I want to say. And the first thing I'm going to say is Florida State this season ain't it. That's it. Unless I'd go ahead and start the backup quarterback. I'm not giving DJ 7 games to get comfortable as a quarterback when that man had 12 games last year, 12 games the year before, 4 games the year before that. Stop. Quit throwing your future down the drain for just trying to help somebody out. If you paid him NIL, give him his NIL money, pat that dude on the back, let him go home to his mansion as a backup quarterback for Florida State. That's fine. Put the new dude in, whoever that is. Even if you don't care if you don't have a backup quarterback. Put the running back at quarterback. That's the same thing as having DJ at quarterback. I promise. Do that. Let your defense do what they do. And they were good. Your defense held Georgia Tech to 21 points until the field goal. In the ACC, 21 points is pretty good. 14 to 21 is a very good range, noting that ACC teams score a lot of points on average. So all you got to do is get somebody to give the offense a spark. Your run game is beautiful, Florida State. Loved it. Love seeing you guys pound the rock. You also got that 175-pound running back. Dude's nice. He's shifty, elusive, all that. But your quarterback, nothing. You got nothing out of him. Okay? Even when you try the little running plays, the quarterback runs that everybody who's had DJ ever has always tried to do. It don't work. Georgia Tech, you saw a new Georgia Tech team. This is the best they've ever played. And I know people are like, well, how are you dogging Florida State and saying they're terrible? But then you say that Georgia Tech played a great game. Because Georgia Tech's been terrible. Until this past year, they haven't had a good season. Like I was saying, Florida State has a different standard. They have a higher standard. So to compare the two, you can't. Georgia Tech is coming from the bottom, and now they're here, right? Yeah, okay. Florida State was up here, and that is why you were going to get so much crap from everybody, is because you wanted to prove to everybody how good you were last year, and then you didn't get the chance in the playoffs, so everybody opted out and said, you know what, we're mad, we're upset, we're not doing this. It's like, okay, and then you come into this game and do that, and it's like, it's so hard to defend you. It's so hard to defend your football team. So hard to defend Mike Norvell when all of these players that are behind have not developed. They have not been developed. And I know you got a bunch of transfers in, and maybe they're just super young. Maybe Florida State is extremely young. But that was a terrible showing. Terrible showing. Haynes King for Georgia Tech, that dude's a beast. He a baller. He's a gamer. I don't really know how else to put it, but that dude is... I like him. I like him a lot. The running backs for Georgia Tech did pretty good. Wide receivers made plays whenever they needed to. The defense stepped up. But it was just an all-around game from Georgia Tech. And then Haynes King led the way. And what Georgia Tech had, Florida State did not. And that was a great showing from the quarterback position. I saw a stat at one point that said, I want to say DJ was like 12 of 15 or 12 of 16 for like 120 yards. And it's like, yeah, but they're all these little short throws that don't end up being a consistent drive or consecutive plays in a row, consecutive first downs. So it's tough. It's tough to just read the stats and say, oh, well, they had similar games. And I think Georgia Tech had like 190 rushing yards. So, anyways, that's the breakdown. Georgia Tech will look to keep this momentum going, and I'm sure they will. There's going to be a lot of hype around that program. Florida State is going to try to turn things around. They have a tough schedule. So they're going to be able to prove themselves. This is not the end of the season. But it does need to be a wake-up call. There's going to need to be an inner alarm, something kind of popping off right now. So good luck to both teams. You already know I'll be back with some more talk, especially since we got some good games coming up this week. So, yeah, TB out. Like the video.